Using our tools faster and with more personalization can assist in us using our tools more often and receiving more value from them. In this episode, I will cover 3 more tips associated with thoughts to help you use the Brain software with improved efficiency. Prerequisites. You will need TheBrain version 13 or later, and you'll need access to the internet and an internet browser. The comma. The use of the comma while creating new thoughts can be rather powerful. If you've watched my note-taking for meetings in the Brain media, this tip can save you precious seconds when starting a meeting. Below each company I have a meeting with, I like to store the alumni and meeting notes. So if I were adding a meeting note about Amazon, I would have to add Amazon as a retailer. Then below the Amazon thought, I would add a new thought and type Amazon, alumni, Amazon, meetings. The comma allows the Brain software to hide Amazon in the Plex when viewed, but when I search for something like alumni, I can quickly see which company a given alumni thought is referring to. The semicolon allows me to add multiple thoughts simultaneously. But what I learned is that I don't have to add the company. Instead, I can just use a comma by typing, alumni, meetings. This gives me the same results, but with much fewer keystrokes. As my typing degrades under pressure, this makes life much easier for me. Dynamic Wallpaper. I touched on thought type tips in a prior video, but there's always more to discuss. In this case, I will use a feature new to the Brain version 13, Dynamic Wallpaper. To do this, I start with a search engine. I start with Google, which allows me to narrow my search to images using the Creative Commons license. Let's follow the path for me to add an image to my knowledge acquisition thought type. When I think of knowledge acquisition, I think of a library. I was lucky enough to have a good library at my school and the ability to frequently go to a library during the summer to continue to add to my knowledge. So naturally, I think of libraries when I think of knowledge acquisition. I start by searching Google for library, then I switch over to images. Just below the search field, there is a Tools option. Clicking this allows you to further search by size, color, type, time, and most importantly, usage rights. I select Creative Commons licenses to find an image to use. I really like this one of a very large library. So I'll right-click and download it. Once you have downloaded the image you want to use, you can go back to the Brain software and right-click on the thought type you wish to add a dynamic wallpaper to. This will be the first option in the right-click menu. Navigate to where you have the image you want to use and select it. Now when you go to a thought with that thought type, the background of the Plex will change to the dynamic wallpaper. This is just one more signal of what kind of data you are capturing or reviewing. Custom icons. My prior thought type tips included recommendations to set custom icons for thought types, but did not dive into where to find suitable icons or how to apply them. Let me correct that. The most important thing to remember is that an icon in the Brain does not have to be a small image that one might think of as a traditional icon. This means we can use the image search technique described in the Dynamic Wallpaper section, use existing images of any size, or use a paid image resource. I use flaticon.com. I've used the site to make my presentations look better for years by finding the correct small image to help guide my audience to the mental connections I'd prefer them to make. But I also use it to make my thought type show exactly the icon I want to help me make similar mental connections. There are other sites where you can search for icons and images. I'm just comfortable with this one, so I will talk about how I use it in particular. For example, let's say I wanted a new icon for the note fleeting thought type. I think about what this means to me. The first thing I came up with is that we write temporary notes in pencil. Let's look at what Flaticon has for pencil. As I use a dark theme, I always look for icons with color, so I select just the color style. After scrolling down a bit, I find an icon that catches my interest, but I want to see if there are color variations, so I click on it. In this case, there are 5 variations of this icon. I select the variation I like on the left-hand side, and then copy the image to the clipboard on the right-hand side of the screen. With the image in question loaded to our clipboard, we go back to the Brain and navigate to the thought or thought type we want to attach it to. By right-clicking, we can select Paste Icon to attach an icon or image we have in our clipboard. With that, you have added a bit more personalization and hopefully faster information orientation to your PKM. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Yazirix. Please like, subscribe, and share. And if you would like to, please note we have a Training Brain, Discord, Reddit, and Twitter links in the description. Until next week.